Hello guys, it's Maya. Yeah, so it's been a while. Very long time, probably back in January was it even this year? No, it was like January of last year or something. It's been a long time. Anyway, so as you guys may know, the Reading Rush 2020 is coming soon. It starts on the 20th and it goes till the 26th, from midnight on the 20th of August to midnight on the 27th of August, technically, right? Because it goes from like the 26th to midnight, so by the time it's midnight on the 26th, it will be technically the 27th. Whatever. It goes from the 20th to the 26th, midnight to midnight. So, very exciting. So I figured, what better way to make an appearance except to do the Reading Rush. Woo! So that's what I'm doing. I don't know if this video will be uploaded because I have filmed like a dozen or so videos, and I enjoy the video process and like filming it and stuff, and then when it comes to editing, I'm like, psh, nah. So I don't know if this video will actually be uploaded. I'm hoping that I will do the job and actually edit this video so that I can upload it. Yes. So, I'm very excited for the Reading Rush. I'm going to read you the challenges and then the books that I have for the challenges. I want to do 7 books for the whole reading challenge, so I have picked 7 books, and as we go down the list, I'll tell you at the end whether or not I actually think that I will in fact get to all 7 of these books. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first challenge is to read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone, and my birthstone is sapphire. I had quite a few books to choose for this challenge, but my mom literally just recently got me this book, and so I was like, you know what? Why not? So for this challenge, I have The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This will be the 3rd book that I've read by Riley Sager. I read Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, and Lock Every Door so far has been my favorite, but I'm very excited to get into this one. This one is about a girl who, when she was like 15 or something, she was at camp, and then her bunkmates, all of them disappeared with the exception of her, and no one knows what happened to her. And so 10 years later, whatever, she's an artist, and she actually teaches art and stuff. And so the camp that the disappearance happened at reaches out to her and is like, hey, we know you're you do art and stuff, would you mind coming and teaching our kids art, and we would pay you, blah blah blah, and so you'd be part of the camp. And when she gets there, she is put in the same cabin that the last time she was there. So I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be really good. I've heard a lot of good things about this, and a lot of people say that this is a very good summer thriller, so perfect! Next, it is read a book that starts with the word the. So for this, I have The Falling in Love Montage by Sierra Smith. That's very interesting way to spell it. Yeah, so I have this, and I meant to read this in June because of LGBTQIA plus whatever, but I didn't get around to reading it, which I was very upset. My friend got this for me, so thank you very much, Melissa, for this. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. This is basically this girl, I think Cerise is her name. She doesn't want anything serious. She wants to just have a summer fling, blah blah blah. And Ruby's like, oh perfect, me too. So they start on a summer fling, and they go on all these cute dates and blah blah blah. But they know when summer comes to an end that they must end their fling or relationship or whatever. But that's easier said than done because they have truly fallen for each other. So, dilemma. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this. Next, we have read a book that inspired a movie that you've already seen. And for this, I chose I Know What You Did Last Summer by Lewis Duncan. This is the audiobook. I have it on audiobook. It's only like 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. So I figure if I listen to like an hour a day, like we'll be able to get that out. This one is basically about these 4 teenagers. They commit some kind of crime and they get rid of like the evidence and everything, and then the past comes back to haunt them, and like someone who witnessed them doing this or something comes and like literally starts stalking them and like killing them off one by one, and it's like super interesting and crazy, and I can't tell you more because then it will spoil the whole thing, but I'm very excited for this. Actually, that's a lie. I'm not like over the moon excited for this, but I think it'll be interesting to see how the book was written, to see how the movie was written, and also for this challenge is kind of hard because I tend to read books before I watch their like adaptations, so this was hard. And then I was like looking online, I was like, what book to movie adaptations can I find that I've not seen, and that was like one of the lists that I was looking at, and I was like, oh my gosh, I literally just saw I Know What You Did Last Summer like 2 weeks ago, so this is perfect. The next challenge is to read the first book that you touch. For this challenge, I basically grabbed like a whole ton of books. I think I grabbed like 30 books or something that I have in my house, and I like laid them out on my bed, and then I had my dad come in and rearrange all the books, and then I like closed my eyes and he like took my, he didn't take my hand. I closed my eyes and then I like went like this, and then I like tapped it, so that was like technically the first book that I touched. And for this I have Beach Read by Emily Henry. I read one of her other books. I read one of her YA books, which was The Love That Split the World, and it was interesting, it was captivating. There were some parts where I was like, but the writing was really well done, and I did enjoy the story, so I was like, you know what, why not give her another shot? And this one is adult, and the one that I read was YA, so yes. But basically this is about 2 writers who are in a writer's block, and they are neighbors at this beach house, and they decide to switch genres to try and get out of their reading slumps. And so like so Augustus is the guy's name, and he writes like literary fiction, I think mostly like mystery / horror type of stuff. And then January is the girl, and she writes like romance, contemporary, that kind of thing. And so they switch genres, and then they go on a bunch of like adventures to like show each other like, okay, so if you're writing a horror book or mystery book, you need to know about this kind of thing. And they go and see like all kinds of different stuff, and then they go on like dates because he's writing the romance, so he needs to know like the romance aspect. I don't know. It sounds very interesting, and I was a little bit hesitant about wanting to read this just because it is by Emily Henry, and like I think I gave The Love That Split the World like 3 out of 5 stars, which isn't bad, but it's just something that I was just like, it was enjoyable, but like anyway. But yes, so I have this, so if it's written well, I think it's going to be really fun. So the next challenge is to read a book completely outside of your house. Now, Raeleen and Ariel were the ones who created these challenges, and they created it before COVID and quarantine happened. So they said that you can tweak it like to fit your situation. So like if you can't go outside of your house for whatever reason, you can like sit by a window and have it open, or like even with it closed, you can sit by a window, you can listen to like a nature playlist. Like you can tweak it to work for your situation and stuff. I am lucky enough to live in a house where I can go outside technically, so I am lucky to be able to do that. So I'm planning, and we have like a little porch, so I'm planning to read this book on my porch, maybe like sometimes in my car. If it gets too hot, I can turn the AC on. I don't know, we'll see. So for this, I have Everland by Wendy Spinell, and this is a Peter Pan retelling. This has been on my list since it came out, which it came out in 2016. So it's been like 4 years that it's been on my list. I'm very excited to read this. It's like steampunk Peter Pan, and I love Peter Pan, like, yas. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I don't really have very much more to say on that. Next challenge is to read a book in a genre that you want to read more of, and for this I have Witchy, the graphic novel by Ariel Rees. It sounds very interesting. I got this in an Owl Crate box, and I haven't really read a lot of graphic novels these past like few years. Like I used to read a lot, like all the time, but I haven't really read any. I think the last time I read one was in December of 2019, and then before that it was like a while. So I was like, Witchy works out. It's very short. All I know is it has witches, and that's okay with me. Like, I'm here for that. So the last and final challenge is to read a book that is set in a different continent than where you live. And I live in America. So for this one, I have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is also pretty short, but this is basically about, it takes place on an island in Ireland. So I was like, heck yeah, Ireland, different continent, works. And it's mystery, which is like my favorite, so perfect. But this is about basically like they're having a wedding on the island in Ireland, and one of the guests get killed, and so the people who have been invited to the wedding are now the suspects. They're the murderers, because I guess it's like a private island or something, and they're the only people on there. But it sounds very Agatha Christie mystery type of thing, and I'm very much about that, and like love Agatha Christie, love me some mysteries, love me a wedding. Perfect. And it's summertime, so perfect, right? Those are all my books for the challenge. Now I'm going to tell you what I think realistically I will be able to read during this 7-day week, because a week is only 7 days. But yes, so I'm gonna tell you that. So the first one I plan on reading is The Last Time I Lied. Just because I think that this will be like a really quick, easy read, and it's summertime, and I literally, like, I think I got this on the 7th or something, and I've literally been itching to read this. So like I figure I should read this first so that I'm not going crazy with not reading it, and that way like once I've read it I can enjoy my other books. So I think I'll read this one first, and then I was like going back and forth between these two because I definitely want to read a romance or contemporary during this readathon. So this has been kind of tricky. I think like with this I'll have to like see how I'm feeling that day. Yeah, but right now I'm kind of leaning more towards, I think, beach read. And then the third book I plan on reading, the graphic novel Witchy. I think I'll be able to get this out and done with within like an hour. So maybe 2 hours, depending on how long I take to look at the pictures. But yeah, so this will be easy peasy smackin' easy. Also, while I'm reading all of these, I'm also going to be listening to the audiobook, I Know What You Did Last Summer, so that's kind of going to be like going along with my other books. So the next book I think I'm going to try to read is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I think this will also be like a quick, easy read, especially because it is like Agatha Christie style of writing and story and format and whatever. So I think that'll be really easy. The last and final book I'm going to be reading is Everland, and then whichever romance book that I didn't choose to read will be the last one I read. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I'll be able to read The Last Time I Lied. As of right now, the Falling in Love montage, Witchy, and The Guest List, and of course, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think I can realistically do that because I think if I read like a book like every other day, like so take 2 days to read a book, I think that I'll be able to read like 3 books by the time the week is up, and then I have my audiobook, which again will be super easy. So realistically, I think I'll be able to read 5 out of my 7 books that I've picked, which is not too shabby considering last year I only read 1 book. So that's the goal, that's the plan, and then if I can read all 7 books throughout this week, I will be like mind blown and so excited and so happy and so proud of myself. Alright, so that is it for this video. Hopefully this gets uploaded. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, bye! Okay, so also I forgot to mention that part of the reading rush they did this year was like a reading journal specifically for the week of the reading rush, and it's super cool, and I have it. I'm going to be keeping track of all my stuff in here, so that'll be really fun. I also wanted to mention that down in the description below, I'm going to be linking a bunch of like Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, like the funds and everything that you can donate to help these organizations protect Black lives and trans lives and like LGBTQIA plus lives, because we are still in this fight, and we're going to be fighting this fight a very long time, and Black lives do matter, and it's really important to like be a good ally and speak out about that. So yeah, I'm going to be leaving a bunch of links down below where you can like either go learn more and educate yourself more on these issues, if you want to donate anything, and then also I'm going to be linking a bunch of Black booktubers that I've been watching, and like people of color booktubers that I've been watching a lot of recently that I really like. So